Hi, how are you today? My name is Rick Mabe. I want to welcome you to your first HOPE workshop. Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to delve into the lessons in honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence. Before we get started, I want us to cover a couple of minor technical items so that you have a clear understanding of what it is that we're doing together. Number one is you should have received by now your syllabus, your workbook, and your HOPE, your Essence Navigation System, and Essence Navigation Workbook. If you have not, that's okay. Let me know. So if you have your pen and paper handy, you'll need to take a couple of notes. And of course, you're going to need to take a lot of notes throughout our time together. So you need to have your blue ink pen. I promote blue ink, which I will tell you about later. Write down my name and phone number. Again, my name is Rick Mabe. I will be your coach throughout this series of workshops. My phone number is area code 757-696-3341. My email address is rickmabe@livinghopeinstitute.org. That's rickmabe@livinghopeinstitute.org. Feel free to call me, text me, or email me in any of those manners. My website is livinghopeinstitute.org, and feel free to go there, explore, look around, and take a look at what's on that website. There's a blog there that we do where I post articles, and you're free to comment, send articles to me, and I will post them if I feel like they've got suitable content for what we do at the HOPE Institute. So that's the first piece of the notes that you need to take. Next, you need to understand what it is we're going to be doing. So these courses, workshops last, I've allowed 2 hours per workshop at the outside as long as I feel like that we can do this in one sitting. May be shorter, or they may be, they're not going to be any longer than 2 hours. So up to 2 hours. They may be shorter depending on how quickly we get through the information. So we try to get through those within the 2 hour period. A lot of lecturing, a lot of discussion, and if you wish to ask me a question, you have a means by which to do that, which I will provide to you later. Tonight, this is going to be all pretty much lecture because I want to get some information out to you to help you get moving forward so that when we meet them next time, we can start having some really, really deep discussions about where we are right now. Because as you probably have already realized, if you've received your syllabus, tonight is just an introduction to HOPE. And you will go away with some homework to read the first couple of chapters of the book so that we can get into a very in-depth discussion next Tuesday about the content that you have read. Because really, before we can get into the depth of our discussion here, you need to have read the material before we get too deep into it. Understand that, right? So I would urge you to just listen tonight, take notes, and then next week we will have a lot of discussion. We'll go over what you have read, and I will be ready to answer questions and that kind of thing. So So I would say that that's the assignment. Give you the assignment tonight is to read the first 2 chapters in H.O.P.E, Your Essence Navigation System, and be prepared to talk about what's in those chapters, because it's a very in-depth discussion, particularly about the honesty piece of it for next Tuesday. Okay, so tonight is an introduction to me. I'll tell you about myself and about why I'm here. Hope I don't bore you too much, but this is an opportunity for you to really, really learn who I am. You can only get into these workshops with the password that I sent you. So I hope that you did enter your password. Otherwise, there's no one listening to me. But in the introduction that I send you and the invitation that I send you a password. And that password will get you into these workshops. Otherwise, you won't be able to get in. You paid money to get in here to do this. So I feel like the best way for me to deliver that value to you is with us to have our personal time together. And therefore, I do not want to allow people to get in here who have not received the password to get in, because this is a very personal time for us. You're going to learn things about me that I do not share outside of where we are. I ask that you don't publish this, that you don't go out and share it with other people, because this is a very one-on-one, intimate time with us. I'm not afraid of you sharing information about me, but these are things that we should share together. And I promise you that I will not go out and spout about you, and I will hope that you would not do the same about me. If you want to promote what you learn, that's fine. If you want to go out and talk about what you learn here, that's fine. But I feel like that I need to be transparent with you and let you know why I've chosen to do what I do, and what that means to me and what it'll mean to you as you'll learn about why I'm here. So I think that's very important for you to know why I'm here. So with that, so those are the administrative things. So each time that we have doing things, I'll send out an invitation the day of or the night before. It'll have the password to get into into that week's lecture and workshop, so that we can, have this between us. So I think that's all that I have for the administrative stuff. If you have questions, again, contact me, rickmabe@livinghopeinstitute.org, or call me, 757-696-3341. Don't be afraid to call me. I'm now your coach, and I am also, you're my coach. So let's get that understanding too as well, is that you're not here just to only learn from me. I have learned a lot from people who are here to read my book, do the workshop, but also it gives me the opportunity to broaden my knowledge and to find more enlightenment for myself as well. So this is a two-way street here. And I know that this camera keeps moving back and forth, so I'm going to try to remedy that at some point. I'm not real sure why it keeps doing that so much. I'm not moving that much, so it's supposed to follow my face. So I'm not real sure why it's doing that. Maybe if I shift over this way a little bit, maybe it'll stop doing that so much. Let's just see what that does. I don't like the fact that it keeps moving in and out on us so much. But I'll remedy that next time. I don't want to stop in the middle of everything and try to fix that now. So we're just going to have to go with this zooming in and out deal that seems to be plaguing us right this moment. So let's see how that works. Now, when we start these sessions together, one of the things that I want us to understand is that it's important for us to be able to raise our level of awareness and consciousness. And the way that I like to do that is I'd like to get into a meditative state, which I have done, but I want to exercise that with you now. And I'm sitting, and so you can do it either sitting or you can do it standing. The way that you want to do this is as we are in a quiet setting, you can you probably hear there's no noise behind me. There's only kind of noise that should be here, maybe some nice music or something like that. A lot of gurus and people like that use various quieting music and that kind of thing. But for me, it's about the breathing. and about the focusing on God and the energy around me. So first thing that I would like for us to do before we get started tonight is I would like for us to do a very short breathing exercise. And what it involves is it involves taking in a deep breath, as deep as I can get it, and then slowly blowing it all out. And when I say blowing it out, you want to try to empty your entire chest cavity, push all the air out of your lungs as far as you can get it. And while you're doing that, I want you to take this on the exhale. When you're blowing out, I want you to raise your hands up like this, okay? And reach up like you're trying to touch the sky. Okay, and blow out all the way down. And then as you're making the arch with your arms, start inhaling again. And inhale, 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 inhale. And then when you get here, you can start blowing out again. So let's do this together. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to talk while you're doing this, so you just keep doing that. And while you're doing this, I want you to think of a nice, beautiful place that you would love to be or that you have been that brings back loving memories, calming memories. I like to do this 5 times. Rest. Okay. So as we journey together, what you're going to start to realize is that what you're doing is you're connecting to God and trying to open up your omnipotence, which is the O in the O formula. So let's get to know each other a little bit. I was born in Richmond, Virginia in 1957. My mom, Barbara, was an artist, very good artist. Her name was Barbara. My dad was William Paul Herholzer, and my sister's name is Annie. And we were quickly a broken family and went through that divorce and broken families thing. And my father committed suicide when I was 14. And I went through a lot of turmoil in my youth and was pretty much lost for most of my life in terms of trying to figure out why I was here. I was a very creative young man at a very young age. You know, I had, from what my mom and my aunts and everybody were telling me, I had a great talent for music and this kind of thing. And I did a lot of wonderful things up until the age of about 13, 12, 13, 14 years old. And had no father figure, had no men in my life other than the ones that had a very negative impact on my life up until my stepdad, which we'll talk about later. And very early on, I began smoking cigarettes and then got into alcohol. Then I got into drugs and got into a whole lot of stuff. By the time I was 17, I had pretty much done almost everything you can imagine in terms of things that aren't good for the body and the mind. I have taken a life. It's by accident, but it did, and that is part of my fabric. There's a lot of things that I've experienced that have created this person that you see before you. And I was very determined to destroy. I was a very angry young man. And for my first, up to my age, like 40, I was doing some very hurtful and, you know, not so good things. But even in that, I was fairly successful. Went and joined the Navy, worked in a great company, did some great things. Found a wife, wonderful woman, had 3 kids, who now have grandkids, but got divorced, got remarried. To the person I'm married to right now, lovely Karen. She has 3 kids, so now we have 6 kids. Between the 2 of us, we've got 11 grandkids, possibly 12 if the adoption of one of them comes through. One of my grandkids is deceased, died 4 months old from SIDS. So there's a whole fabric of things there. We have interracial mixing going on. We have gay people in our family. We have the whole, you know, I was a homophobe for a while. I still have certain beliefs about man, woman, and androgyny and that kind of thing, that I accept things for how they are, and I'm okay with that. I'm not a bigot or anything like that. I'm a patriotic American. I am steadfast believer in our Constitution. I believe our country is in great turmoil right now, and I believe that we have some very significant changes going on that need to be going on. In 1988, my mom began talking to me about the child within and how to awaken the child within. In 1998, as my mom was very ill and going through some illnesses, she had cancer, she had heart disease and things. My first encounter with creation and God took place. Actually, it was my second one because I was saved at one point. And had had some interactions with Jesus and that kind of thing. But in 1998 was the first significant interaction that I had that caused me to truly believe that we are created in the image of God and that we have a very special place in the fabric of existence. My mom had been coaching me, and she had come out of heart surgery, and I had promised her that I would take her onto a mountaintop somewhere, and we would work this thing out because she had been trying to help me understand what it meant to awaken the child within. And so when she was on her deathbed. She was really on her deathbed at this point when she was in this heart surgery, and I promised her that if she would pull out of it, that we would work harder together and that we would go to this mountain and that we would go there. And when she was in intensive care, when she finally came to where she was awake enough to be able to communicate, evidently she'd heard what I said while I was talking to her when she was unconscious, because the first thing she wrote was mountain in her recovery. So, so shortly after when she was well enough, we hopped in the car and we went to a place, and she got a room. We got side by side rooms, and one morning we had been meditating and I'd gone through my exercises, doing numerology, which I really love. I actually love numerology. It's one of the most beautiful ways to define yourself, which I can do numerology charts for you if you'd like. I have that capability. And I went for a hike. And I was hiking along, having a good old time, and then just having a good time whistling or whatever. And I went around a corner and walked right into a wall, an invisible wall. And I was stopped cold. Couldn't see anything in front of me, but I stopped because there was this amazing energy that just was coursing through me, and it knocked me down, and I was just there, and it was coursing through me like nothing you've ever seen. It was like suddenly there had been this opening, and this influx of this amazing power just started flowing into me. And of course I started crying, and I was down on my knees and everything. And the last thing I remember before being in front of the mirror at the hotel room was walking like I was 20 feet up in the air. And I was up high, and I was looking down over the treetops, and I could see deer down there and stuff. And I was walking to see the road, but my feet weren't touching the road. It's an amazing, amazing time and it lasted about an hour and a half, that particular moment. And then I was ground bound again in my hotel room, and I was staring in the mirror, and I told Mom, I said, Mom, you need to come here. And she walked in there, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she looked at me, and she said, who are you? And I said, it's me, Mama. She said, you're not my son. And she looked closer, and she said, you're my son's son? I said, yes, Mama, it's me. And I turned around and I looked in the mirror, and I was a different person. There was a streak of white right here, and it's still there. You can still see it there. See it right there? There's a streak of white right there that runs through my hair. And it had never been there before, but it was there then, and it's there. And my hair is almost all the way white, but see, you can see it. You can see that streak of white right there, that even with my hair turning white, there's this one spot that just completely went white. And so, brings back to the movie with what is it? The guy that builds the ark. I forget the name of the movie now, but anyway, it's a great movie about this guy who's suddenly approached by God in modern times to build the ark, and it floods, and the ark runs down to the Capitol and crashes into the Capitol. And anyway, wonderful movie about modern times and about the ark and everything. But yeah, you suddenly had white hair, but folks, this stuff is real. I'm here because this stuff is real. I'm here because I've spent the last 20 years undergoing a massive, massive change in my thinking, in my behavior. The behavior part's been slow. The behavior part's been slow coming, but the behavior part is definitely evolving now into something that is totally different from what it was when I was younger. You can ask my first wife, you can ask my mom. She's in heaven now, wherever they go. She's not in heaven, she's reincarnating, I'm sure. But you can ask anybody who knows me that the behavior part has been slow in coming, because I'm a rebellious SOB. I'll tell you the truth. I don't like rules, and I don't like being told what I can and cannot do. And it's cost me over the years. Anyway, to get back to the seriousness of it for a minute, I think that's what's helped build the fabric of Rick, is the fact that I've been a rebel. And I think that all the things that have happened to me in the past with me, to me, not to me. I can't say to me anymore because I realize now, in my honesty, that these are things that were inherent in my design that had to happen in lessons and reincarnation in me that led me to where I am. And we'll talk about that. So we were on the mountain. I got touched. It scared me. It was wonderful. But I was slow to accept it. I was in denial about it for a long time. A lot of it was in denial. Even though it was this beautiful, wonderful thing, I was in denial. And I've been in denial on and off ever since because, and we're going to go over this together in our lessons together, because we're all very negative toward change. And when we've been programmed and we've been taught and we have learned ways to do things, we get comfortable and we don't feel good about trying to change the way we think and the way we do things. We're creatures of habit, and particularly when it comes to ourselves, and trying to admit that we were wrong or that we need to do things a different way. But believe me, we do need to do things a different way. Humanity in general needs to do things a different way. So anyway, came down off the mountain. It was a wonderful experience. I worked for a company at the time, went back to work, kept having flashes of this wonderful power, and I can bring it up when I want to. I tend to, so when I want to do it, I can do it. But I kept putting it away and putting it away, and kept getting into trouble about it. And one of the lessons that you're going to learn about this, the whole thing, is that when you finally get touched, when you finally are told and you are finally awakened to what it is you're supposed to be doing, when you finally understand that there is an essence in you, which we'll talk about in in one of our workshops, one of the last workshops, is your essence of who you are. When you deny yourself that essence, when you do not allow your essence to blossom, you will be hurt by it. You will be slapped around because you are created in the image of your creator, which we call God. And when you deny what you were created to do, then you are going to make yourself ill. You are going to be continuously brought back to the lesson on essence to learn what that's about. And I have been there over and over and over again, which is why we're here today, because I am now doing what I've been told to do. When I was touched by God on that mountain, when I was told that I now have this ability, I have now got to share it with you, and that is what I'm going to do. Finally. I can't not do it now. So, moving forward, you'll see me from time to time do things like this. Because what I'm doing is I'm pushing energy to you. I'm pushing hope your way. And as we work together, you'll feel it. If you're not already feeling it, you'll feel it. It comes and it goes, and it comes and it goes, and it will continue to flow. We do have chakras. Everything you've heard about chakras, everything you've heard about the power of energy and magnetism, and everything is absolutely true. It's all true. What's not true is that you need to fear it. What's not true is the things that people tell you that are evil about it. What's evil is what's man-made about it. So we'll get into that if you desire. I try to keep away from that part of it because I ignore that. Okay. Once we start getting into this, as I have done, as I have learned, things will start to touch you. You will be given opportunities. You will be given situations. You will be given these coincidences that you better listen to, that you're better to listen to. I'm not giving you commands. I'm just saying that when you are presented with with what seems to be a coincidence, follow it. Climb on board that thing and ride, because it can take you to some amazing places. Choose not to ride it, and that's okay. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But when it seems like the coincidence is too good to be true, don't fall for the thing that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Take a chance, take a ride. What you're going to learn here, though, is that these 4 pillars here will help keep you out of trouble when you get ready to take that ride. What has happened with me, once I began to evolve in 1998, if I had been quicker on the draw with these opportunities that present themselves, I would already be so far, much further than I am even now with you sitting here. I know that now. I know that now. I would be so much further ahead than where I am if I had reacted quicker and gotten on board in 1998 instead of 2004, 2005, 2006. But that's okay. It just meant that I needed to learn. And I have learned. I continue to learn. You will continue to learn no matter how long it takes. You'll continue to learn. But in 2004, I started receiving information from various areas. And then, of course, I've always been reading, always reading, always reading, always reading. But I started to shift away from the more fantastical stuff. I started reading some very interesting books. And the 10th Insight I read. And as I'm making these statements, you might want to be taking notes. The 10th Insight is a very interesting read. I'm not going to get into the details about it, but you might want to check that one out. Carlos Castaneda is an interesting author who talks about being able to swing through the air on strings. I began to dream of flying in the early 2000s. And I did continue to this day enter other dimensions and fly. And believe me, that's a very real, very, very real traveling sensation. Amazing when you can fly. These are all things I'm sharing with you on a personal level, and I hope that you will share them with me. Okay, so I can fly. And often in this dimension, I have stood out on my deck or I've stood up on a rock. And I'll tell you something else too, real quick. I have been known to, when I'm hiking, take leaps. I'm not saying I fly. I know how Earth gravity works, but I have defied it a little bit. Where it feels like, have you ever taken kind of a jump and it feels like you're kind of hanging there for a little bit, just for a little bit, but then all of a sudden you go, you know what, I'm on Earth. That subconscious kicks in, you drop. But just for that momentary thing, you feel like, huh? I've been there and done that here on this planet. Or have you ever felt like that? Have you ever experienced, and I can do this, it's called grounding, where there's an exercise you do. where you can make yourself so grounded, so connected to the earth that people can come up to you and try to move you and they can't move you. I mean, obviously if a 295-pound linebacker comes running and slams into you, they're going to knock you off your feet. But if you're grounded and someone comes, you can get people on each side of you, try to lift you with their elbow, lift your elbows, and if you're grounded and they try to lift you by their elbows, they can't do it. They can't lift you off the ground. It's a Rishi technique. They can't lift you. It's called grounding. It's amazing. They can't lift you. These are all powers that I believe that Christ was talking about. You can do as I do. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could walk on water? Okay, I know I'm getting a little deep. Okay, but just these are things that as you evolve your thinking, as you become more into these natural universal laws that we're going to talk about, you'll start thinking at a different level about some of the fantastical things that people have been able to do over history. And maybe you'll start thinking about a whole different way of creating. I mean, when you think about the wonderful things that mankind has done, I don't want to think about the dark things. I know exactly what just went through your head. Yeah, we got nuclear weapons. Yeah, that's terrible, isn't it? We also have nuclear power. Yeah, we've had atrocities where we've had genocide, we've had people wiped off the face of the earth. We've also explored the moon. And now we're getting ready to explore Mars, probably populate Mars at some point. Yeah, we've done genetically altered food and all that. We've also created clones. Yeah, we abort babies. Don't kill me. We also make babies. All these things that man has done because he's created in the image of God. One of the people that we're going to talk about from time to time, his name is Greg Braden. Write that name down. Greg Braden. He wrote a book called The God Code. If you want to really delve into the idea that perhaps you are created in the image of God, I urge you to read that book, The God Code by Greg Braden. I have absolutely no doubt that we are created in the image of our Creator. And I have absolutely no doubt that we can create in our own image what we need to create. That's the point I'm trying to make here in this particular little statement. You are here because you choose to make a change. You are here because you read somewhere or thought of something that Hope resonated with. Perhaps you heard of me on Facebook where I spent a lot of my time. Or perhaps you heard of me from a friend. Perhaps you heard about me from NeoThink, or perhaps you heard of me from, I don't know, in passing. Perhaps I was your Uber driver once and I gave you a copy of my book and workbook. Perhaps you were with me when I was working for Job Corps in the Career Transitions Services as a manager for Virginia. Perhaps you knew me at the shipyard when I worked there for all those years. You're here because you are ready to find out more, as I did. We are not simply here to live and die and fade away. We are here to live our essence and contribute to the fabric of existence across the universe of universes. You have been given in your design free will. to create. You have been given authority in your design to create. You have the responsibility and accountability with that authority to create. What you have to do now is honestly assess whether where you are is the right place at the right time to do what you were created to do. I'm not here to teach you a cult or a religion or anything. I'm here simply because God wants me to share with you 4 basic universal laws. The law of honesty, the law of omnipotence, the law of pure love, and the law of essence. When I started learning in 1998, I went evolving through, met one of my mentors, Mark Hamilton, Greg Braden, Paul Lipton, Napoleon Hill, Jesus Christ, all the writers of our Constitution. When I started evolving, I started learning. And in 2009, I was laying in bed one night and I got hit again with 4 words: honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence. I rolled over to my wife and I said to her, hope. And I had been learning through neothink, which you'll hear me refer to often, which is the same as saying new thinking, that honesty is our navigation system. And through these other mentors and writers and the research that I've done and being connected to God, I have learned how to write this book. And this is what we're going to start working on. Okay? So in 2013, I published this book. And it's dedicated to my children who have always had faith in their old dad. The book opens with a statement that I think all of our teachers over millennia, over history, antiquity, have tried to help us to understand. There shall be no more dysfunction in the love we deliver to our fellow man because we open our lives to honesty, omnipotence, purity, and essence. There shall be no more dysfunction in the love we deliver to our fellow man because we open our lives to honesty, openness, purity, and essence. Now, in these workshops with you, openness will be omnipotence. I'm not afraid to tell you that my openness is all about omnipotence and your connection with God, our Creator. I simply cannot and will not deny that there is intelligence in our design. When you think about all the mathematicians and all the mathematics that is surrounding us in our basic design of everything, everything around us, everything, we're all made of energy, yes. All the things that we look at, even what we manufacture and what grows out of the ground, every cell, every atom of every piece of wood, of every piece of plastic, of every piece of metal, everything that we manufacture has a geometric shape at the particulate level, at the atomic level. Everything has geometric shapes, which means everything has numeric value. Everything has a chemical balance to it. That says intelligence. It doesn't say randomness. Okay. So my goal is to help you guys to live a perfect life in the perfect environment. However you define it. I'm not giving this with any motive other than that you live a happy and prosperous life. The messages that I give, the messages that I put out there, I receive from in here, from up there, around, in my aura, through my meditation, and my request from God. I do not believe in coincidences. So, have you given up on fulfilling your purpose? Do you even know what your purpose is? If you have no purpose, why are you here? There's so much more to you. There's so much more when you feel like you have purpose and essence. There's a change underway across all of our humanity that says there's more to us than simply living and dying, going to work. There is pretty much undeniable truth now and proof that we are connected. But what I think what's missing is a clear understanding of what our experiences in our life really mean. And understanding that those lessons are meant to build us toward our essence. This is all about self-discovery. You're going to uncover what it is you were put here to achieve. You're going to reach a new level of knowledge about what it takes to be honest by day by day. You're going to discover new knowledge about your omnipotence and ability to receive answers. You're going to learn how to love with a foundation of purity in your heart. Once you've embraced honesty, omnipotence, and pure love, you're going to discover what your purpose is. And once you discover that purpose, you're going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable in your essence. The only thing that'll be able to stop you is you stopping yourself. And you're going to integrate all of this into your new life plan. You need to prepare yourself for this, because this is a significant change. Because when you discover the treasure that is you, it could be a bit unsettling to you. Understand something. When you are contributing the best that is you, you're contributing to the very existence of the entire universe. And you reincarnate in this lifetime, unless you're like many people who are just flatlining here. A lot of people just flatline. They just go. They come here, they're born, they spend a few years, and then they just go. They die, and they're all gone. I simply ask that you pay attention to the exercises that we're going to do here for these 4 stages. The first stage is going to be that you find your honesty, that you build your honesty statement, that you build upon the honesty that is inside you, that I call the honesty navigation system. Because the very first thing you really, really must do is honestly assess where it is you are today, what got you where you are today, how you got where you are today, and whether you're going to stay where you are or move on. We're going to talk about what it means to be honest every day and what the risk of being honest is every day. There is risk involved, but the risk is very much worth the outcome. Because when you are honest every day, you can wake up the next morning and say, well, I was honest about it. If you've received the book, which you should have, if you're sitting here with me tonight, you should have received the book and you should be reading it. If you don't already have a notebook, you should get one. You should be taking notes. You should write down everything. I have mine. I write down a lot. Before I do any kind of talking, usually, I write everything down. Because if I don't write everything down, I might not say everything I want to say. Usually. Often, if I don't have time, I won't, and I'll just do it off the cuff. But usually I try to write everything down. However, blue ink is a very powerful ink. Blue is a power color. One of the best things, and probably the most important thing you can do to record your knowledge, is by writing with a pen, writing it down. Not by typing it into a computer. There's a disconnect that you lose when you don't use your eye to the paper through your fingers to the pen. There's a connection that is made between between your eye, following your hand down to the ink, down to the paper. There's a connection there in that communication technique that is handwriting. And I hope that our kids never are taught not to write. While it is fun to type on a computer and watch the words go across, there's a disconnect between that physical connection with the pen to paper that you do not get from the electrons to the screen. Although we may be evolving to the point where artificial intelligence and stuff is going to give us the ability to do that, but I urge you to always write hand notes of what it is that you want to convey, particularly if you're trying to convey an affirmation. I handwrite all my affirmations. As we get into the omnipotence piece of this, you're going to learn about receptors. You're going to learn about how your body resonates. You're going to learn about how your heart is a message terminal, about how this transmitter that is your heart is even more powerful than the brain messenger that you think your brain is. It's this right here that is the most powerful transmitter available to you. You're going to learn all these things about these resonance, the resonance that the body fluctuates in this entire electromagnetic field that you're pulsating in, and how those breathing exercises that we do tunes you into your omnipotence and your connection with God. You're going to learn about that. You're going to learn about why prayer is so positive and how you're going to realign what you think prayer is with what affirmations are. It's a whole different ballgame, folks. It's a whole different ballgame when you use affirmations rather than what they've taught you to pray about. But when you're writing your recording history, imagine if everyone who ever lived recorded their lives for the benefit of others. You are communicating. When you're writing down from power thinking, dreaming, communicating, that's what you're giving to other people. The other reason for writing this stuff down is you need to be able to refer back to it. You know, we've been trained over our lives to think certain ways. Our churches, our schools, our parents, our coaches, they've all trained us to be a certain thing or to think a certain way. It's time for you to think about how trainable you are. What's your trainability index? One of my mentors, Kevin Trudeau, has a wonderful exercise about determining your trainability index. Are you willing to accept change? This is very crucial to what we're going to be working on together. Because without the ability to train, to be taught, then this is all for naught. No taught, ought not. So you have bought this set of workshops because you feel like that there is some need for you to go through some kind of change. You can't possibly be here just because you want to listen to me talk. You can't possibly be here just because you want to hear some information. Because you know that this book and workbook require you to do work. This book and workbook require you to take an honest look at yourself, to do an honest discovery and change in your thinking and about yourself and about how you have been programmed and trained over all these years. So it's very important that you at least conceive of the idea that you are willing to change. And it's okay if you're feeling kind of hard-headed about it right now. It's okay, but you're here. That's the main thing. If you're here and you've paid money to come here, then you're willing to think about changing. Challenge me. Challenge everything you read and hear. Do not always believe what you see and hear. I urge you. I did it. I don't believe everything I've been seen, taught, and heard. Trust me on this. But don't trust me on this. Go out and challenge it. If I tell you the sky is blue, challenge it. Go out and look. If I tell you that I can fly, don't challenge it and go out and try to fly. But you could go out here and jump off of a 12-inch step. And if you don't float, you probably can't fly. If I tell you, if I tell you that you can be touched by God, don't believe me. Do it yourself. I'll show you how, but don't believe me. You do it. You do it. I'll show you how. Let's do it together. It's a lot of fun. But be ready, because when it happens, you're going to be stunned. Challenge everything you read or hear. Now, there are some very, very smart people out here. And I'm not saying that you need to disbelieve everything you hear, but challenge it. Now, we're all born very intelligent. We're all born smart people. Yes, there are some genetic differences. Yes, there's some cells that sometimes get scrambled up and things are different for other people. We all have our different talents, because remember, we are all created with a certain essence. My mom was an artist. I can't paint. I can write, but I can't paint. So there are certain things that some of us can do better than others. But we're all very smart. We all have certain basic understandings and abilities that are a baseline for us to work from. So again, if I tell you the sky is blue, go outside and you can see it's blue. Except on a cloudy day, right? But there's some very intelligent people out here, like Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and others, who I trust to know some things, who I read their research. And I'm kind of smart enough to be able to say, okay, I think they're twisting this a little bit to a biased view of it, okay? And if I feel like they're twisting it a little bit to a biased view, I'll go out and I'll do my own research on it. It's kind of like reading the Bible. You know, the Bible can be interpreted a lot of different ways. You know what I do? I look for where I see Jesus's quotes if I want to feel like I'm getting the true meaning of what Jesus wants us to know. But when someone's presenting scientific evidence to me through facts, I find it hard to challenge that. On the other hand, if someone tells me the ice caps are melting and it's caused by this or that, if I feel like I have the time to go research it, and if it means a lot to me, I'll go find out the answer myself. I haven't done that because I don't feel that compelled to go do that. So I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to follow guidance of people that I feel like are not biased in their scientific approach, and I'll take guidance from that. You know, like when you're talking about environment, climate change, for instance. I know that when I sit inside a garage and I suck up carbon monoxide, it's going to kill me, right? I also know that pine trees need carbon in order to create oxygen for us to breathe. I learned that from basic science when I was a kid in school. So our carbon that we create, the certain kind, is good for trees. The oxygen that trees create is good for us. So it kind of makes sense to me that we should stop destroying entire forests so that we can continue to breathe oxygen. It kind of makes sense to me that we could be producing too much carbon monoxide from our cars is causing maybe something to go wrong in our atmosphere. These are all common sense things that we can think about in terms of how we might be damaging the earth that we've been given dominion over, to take care of it. Anyone who thinks that we don't have responsibility and accountability for having dominion over our planet, entrusted to us by our Creator to take care of, is just not thinking clearly. So we need to be using common sense when we're thinking about this stuff. So challenge things. This is what my message to you is in this short time we have together tonight. Challenge things. Challenge what I'm saying to you. Don't be afraid to question me. I welcome it. Let's have an honest, open discussion. Let's have an honest discussion about what I'm telling you. When I say to you that honesty is different from truth, you can challenge me on it. When I say to you that I would much rather take an honesty oath than a truth oath because I cannot be manipulated when I'm telling you I'm being honest. However, when I tell you I'm telling you the truth, I can be lying straight into your face because truth is in the eye of the beholder. Truth is in how I manipulate the facts to get to the agenda that I have to fulfill. That's my truth. When someone says to you, this is my truth, that doesn't mean it's honest. Remember that. Challenge everything you hear. I want to discuss affirmations for a minute because this is all leading up to our work together. Affirmations are, as I was kind of mentioned earlier, almost like a prayer. The difference between an affirmation and a prayer is that an affirmation is a statement you're making as if it's in current day and as if it is in fact happening now, as if it is already in place. So I'll give you, and a prayer is us putting in faith in something that will come to be as we're asking a higher power to deliver it to us. Now, because I believe in the law of attraction, and I also believe in God, I believe that I can affirm through the law of attraction that things are here, that I am being delivered, what I need. So in an affirmation, I will say, I am delivering value to you every day in my H.O.P.E workshops. A prayer might be, I ask that I am allowed to present H.O.P.E workshops to people. One is an ask, one is already happening. Now, what is happening is that if you can get to the idea of grasping and conceiving that you can achieve through believing, if you believe in it, you conceive in it, you can believe in it, you can achieve it. So when you believe it, then you've conceived it and believe it, then it's already happening. Rather than begging for it to happen, rather than hoping that it'll happen, rather than thinking it might happen, start believing it's already happening, and it is happening. It's amazing how when you believe it's already there and you go on with your life and you affirm these things and keep affirming them, you'll look back one day and remember, hey, you know what? I affirmed that one day, and now here it is. The universal laws work that way. The law of attraction works in that way. You will attract to you what you believe is supposed to be there. What you believe your activity should be, it will be there. Happens with contrarians too. If you constantly think that you're going to be sick, you're sick. If you constantly believe you're going to be poor, you're going to be poor. Believe me, I know. That affirmation was stuck in my head for a long time about being poor and stuff. So anyway, so remember that when you are in need, or that you feel like there's something that you want to accomplish, make an affirmation statement about it. I am the best mechanic in the shop. I am a mechanic working every day in this car shop, whatever, that kind of thing. Rather than, please let me be a mechanic. No, you are a mechanic. There's also something called a mastermind group. And this is where you get a group of people together and you power think things. You also set them up where it might be a group of your mentors that you consult with in your meditative state, where I might have Kevin Trudeau and Mark Hamilton and Jesus Christ and Napoleon Hill and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton in my meditative state, all sitting around a table, helping me to figure things out. Oh, Eric Pepin would be another one. Sitting around a table, helping me to resolve whatever it is that I'm trying to figure out, such as building the Hope Institute. And that's one of mine. So you can do that. And those people, listen, one of the things you're going to learn about is the power of the ether, the power of the universal collective of conscious thought. You're going to learn about the conscious thought, the power of the conscious thought. You'll learn about that. I have been fortunate to have been trained in the many aspects of self-discovery and business development that have assisted me in completing this work and being a professional life coach and team leader. There are practitioners that teach in all the various basic areas that I'm talking to you about. So I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 5 weeks. So there's a flow that goes through this. I want to say to you what hope means. Let's take a break. Let's just take a break for a minute. Okay. Your homework assignment is to read the first 2 chapters of the book so that next time we're ready to get into it more deeply. And go ahead and read chapter 3 on honesty, because next week we got to do our honesty assessment work. So read chapters 1, 2, and 3 if you haven't already read them. Definitely, if you haven't, read chapters 1, 2, and 3. And next week we're going to get into honesty. Okay. In my definition of hope, hope fulfilled equals honesty plus omnipotence plus pure love plus essence. That's hope fulfilled. Traditionally, hope means a wish or desire accompanied by a confident expectation of its fulfillment. Something that is hoped for or desired or success is our hope. Or one that is a source of our reason for hope. The team's only hope for victory. Hope in Christianity is a theological virtue defined as a desire and search for a future good, difficult but not impossible, to attain God's help. Archaic trust or confidence is hope. Other forms of hope, and there are more that are not listed here. Kibo is a Japanese word for help. Amal is Arabic. Ellipsis is Greek. Spiro is Latin. Tikva is Hebrew. Around the globe there is hope, and there seems to be a common theme in the use of this word. A wish or desire accompanied by confident expectation of its fulfillment. A wish or desire accompanied by confident expectation of its fulfillment. Note the part that says confident expectation of its fulfillment. This is a very important part of the definition. This is the underlying foundation for every instance of hoping, no matter where you come from, no matter what religion, race, creed, or sexual preference. You will find that when you use the word hope in the future, you really will have this confident expectation of its outcome because of what I just said about affirmations and about affirming. You will have a positive expectation of its fruition. It seems to me when people use the word hope these days, it has a very bad context, really. I hope you feel better. I hope that you don't fall off that cliff. I hope that you won't beat your wife. But from now on, when you use the word hope, you'll be drawing on the power of honesty in assessing any situation. You will omnipotently embrace change and new thinking that fills you with knowledge from God. You will love all things with purity, and you will have pure love in your heart for man. You will not expect any reciprocity for the love you deliver. You will knowingly exercise your essence to decide your role in any situation, and you will not be able to be held back. That is how you'll apply the logic of scientific discovery integrated with the miracle of creation to make your vision a reality. You will know exactly what hope means for you, and you will want to share that new definition with others, with thousands and tens of thousands and even millions, or you may choose to keep it to yourself. I'd like to see you share it with the world like I'm doing. With this definition of hope firmly planted in your beliefs, you will know that every time you address someone or some situation with hope, you are unleashing the power of the universe to align itself with that hope. You will know that when you say, I hope you feel better, you're no longer depending on what if or if and when. You are depending on the outcome of that hope becoming reality because you will know in your heart that the miracle of creation is at your fingertips. And because you have initiated the power of the formula behind the word hope, you understand that now? For you, hope holds a much more different meaning than for others who have not discovered its power. For you, the meaning of hope holds the true meaning of the power that you have discovered. If the concept of power of our universe or the miracle of creation are foreign to you, fear not. I'm going to provide the explanation of these ideas in the chapters that follow. For now, just consider the idea that there is now evidence and a growing segment of the evolutionism and creationism sectors of knowledge that say the two sides of the same coin are coming together. Intelligent design theory and scientific theory are intrinsically joined at the hip. Consider that the two theories contribute to the final answer that says both are correct and both are so far from the truth because of the inability to open one's thinking to consider the possibility that they could both be on the same track toward creation. It's so simple. And yet people have been fighting religious wars and killing each other off for millennia because they can't seem to agree on the simple fact that we were created and that science had something to do with it at the hands of God. Now, listening to that statement, does that not sound stupid to you? That people can't seem to just get a hold of it and agree on that simple concept? Does it strike you with emotion that those little life secrets are so simple? If there were no boundaries on your life, what would you do? When a kid is 3 or 5 years old, they don't have any boundaries. There's only one thing to put boundaries on a kid, and that's their parents, and then their school and their teachers later, and their leaders as they grow older. It's what we teach them. It's how they evolve. in their thinking that creates awful human beings or good human beings. For many humans, life is a daily struggle because of what they've been taught and what's been left out of their teaching. By the time most of us are in our teen years, we have no idea of the power of the human. That concept has gone way behind since the time we were told we could not be that or this, that we have to go do that or this. And one day you'll wake up and realize that your parents are trying to tell you what to do and they are wrong about everything. And you will rebel. And you will rebel. And you will either stop rebelling and fall in line, or you will do something that society will put you in prison for or will kill you for. And it's the same for millions of people, young, old, white, black, Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter. But what we're working on is changing that paradigm, aren't we? We are working together to change the paradigm that has shaped so many people's thoughts away from being conscious, intelligent human beings into oppressed human beings. So we're going to learn that honesty is a way of life. We're going to learn that omnipotence is a willingness to embrace and accept the fact that you have a relationship with God and authority with God and responsibility and accountability for what God granted you in your creation. We're going to learn that pure love is the core of how we must interact with one another, that we can no longer accept the idea that we have to separate ourselves from the idea of pure love. And we're going to learn that essence is the key to it all. You have within you the power to unleash your essence through self-discovery and becoming a self-leader. In these short pages, and with this workbook, within a matter of 5 weeks, you're not only going to discover your honesty inside yourself, you're also going to discover what kind of God man you are. You're also going to discover how much you can truly love. You're also going to discover what your essence may be, or at least get you on the right path to discovering what that essence might look like. And then at the end, I want to show you this before we wrap up for the night. In the back of your workbook, there's something called Value Deployment Goals and Objectives, where we're going to actually develop a strategy, a strategic plan for you to initiate your essence into a plan to get you where you need to be. Okay? Sure, why not? You are your product. You are your business plan. You are the product that you are developing. You are the outcome you seek. You are the deployment goal and objective. Why not? For so many years, we've been talking about how we build businesses and how we do this and how we do this. Why not be your own product? You are the outcome. Okay? So tonight, that's it. I hope that you've gotten some kind of value from what I've delivered you tonight. This is a recorded session, so for those of you that were not able to attend tonight, I'll provide it to you through Zoom. It'll be available most likely on YouTube. I will get this to you just as quick as I can. So I love you guys, and I look forward to our next session. And have a good night. I hope you have a good night. Honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence is where we're going to go. And I look forward to helping you to discover your essence moving forward. Thank you.